Hello everyone, are you ready for our final read aloud? This story has some similarities to Little Red Riding Hood also, but it is set in a totally different continent. We have been to Europe, Asia, and now we're traveling to Africa. Today's story is called Tselane, and this is set in southern Africa. Africa is a continent and is full of many different countries. This story is set in southern Africa, and it was set a very long time ago with small villages. There were not very many cities around in southern Africa at this point in the story, although it is made up. Let's read to find out the story of Tselane and see if it has any similarities with Little Red Riding Hood. See if you can spot them as we go. Once upon a time, in the southern region of Africa, where the Bantu region language is spoken, there lived a girl named Tselane. She lived with her mother and father. The family lived in a little round house with a thatched roof. One day, Tselane's mother said, "I must go to the village for some things we need. You may stay here, but be sure to keep the door locked. Watch out for the hungry leopards who roam the land." What are her mother's instructions? Is it similar or different to the other stories we've heard? Tselane's mother set out for the village. Tselane stayed home by herself. Tselane had stayed home by herself before. Each time her mother would return and call out in her sweet high voice that sounded like the song of the Ataga bird. "Tselane, my child," her mother would call from outside the door. "I have brought you some food. Open the door." "That is my mother's voice," Tselane would say. Her voice is high and sweet, like the song of the Agata bird. Ataga bird. Each time Tselane would open the door and see her mother standing there. Her mother would always bring Tselane some bread and porridge. Tselane would then sit down and eat with her mother. One day, when Tselane's mother had gone to the village, Tselane heard a knock on the door. "Tselane, my child," said a low, gruff voice. "It is your mother. I have brought you some food. Open that door." Does that sound like Tselane's mother's voice? Does it sound like the Ataga bird? "That is not my mother's voice," said Tselane. "My mother's voice is high and sweet, like the sound of the Ataga bird. Go away, you wicked leopard." What characters have you met so far? What is Tselane's mother's voice like? And how does Tselane know that it's a leopard at the door? Because she's inside. The leopard went away, but he came back after and tried to make his voice sound like a woman's voice. "Tselane, my child," said the leopard, "it is your mother. I have brought you some food. Open the door." "That is not my mother's voice," said Tselane. "My mother's voice is high and sweet, like the song of the Ataga bird. Go away, you wicked leopard." The leopard went away. He came back, but this time he drank a special drink that made his voice even higher to sound like Tselane's mother's voice. "Tselane, my child," said the leopard in a high, womanly voice. "It is your mother. I brought you some food. Open the door." "That is my mother's voice," said Tselane, high and sweet like the song of the Ataga bird. Tselane opened the door and saw the leopard. With a fright, she tried to slam the door shut again, but it was too late. The leopard stuffed Tselane into a sack and carried her away, intending to take her back to his habitat on the savannah. After carrying the heavy bag for a while, the leopard stopped by a small stream. After traveling so far in the heat and after carrying the heavy bag, he needed a cool drink. Rather than carry the heavy bag down to the stream, the leopard left the bag on the side of the road, as he intended or planned to be away with it for only a short moment. The leopard climbed down the hill to the stream to get a drink. As soon as he was gone, a little girl came walking down the road. seeing the bag alongside the road, the little girl became curious, so she peeped inside the bag. She saw some fingers sticking up and quickly closed the bag. "Whose fingers are those?" she asked. "Mine," said a voice. "My name is Tselane. Please let me out. I'm smothered in here in this hot, hot space." "Tselane," replied the girl. "Why, your mother's my aunt. She has been visiting here in the village." The little girl let Tselane out of the bag. Then she and Tselane ran to get Tselane's mother. When she heard what had happened, Tselane's mother filled the leopard's bag with scorpions and snakes. When he had finished getting his cool drink, the leopard came back to the road and grabbed the sack. Then he set off for his home. When the leopard arrived back at the savannah, he opened the bag, intending to start eating his tasty treat. What's he going to get instead? How do you think he's going to react? Instead, angry snakes slithered out. Dozens of scorpions poured out of the bag, shaking their poisonous tails. The leopard put his great speed to work and darted or ran away quickly across the savannah, never to bother Tselane or her family again. As for Tselane, she always decided to accompany her mother to the village and follow her mother's directions, and they all lived happily ever after. The end. What lesson did Tselane learn? How does this story compare to Little Red Riding Hood and Hugu Po? Take some time, think about it, and get off and write. Off you go.